Hi, we're here at Merritt's Place. Merritt, now can I say it correctly?
Sure, that's fine.
Merritt's Place here in Honolulu.
That's right.
And we've got here a fantastic home system. And the story here is that this home system has been built in a very narrow space beside the house, which is an excellent example, isn't it, of aquaponics in a suburban area where you haven't got a whole pile of room, but you're going to maximise the space. First thing, we've got a fish tank here which is full of tilapia. Is that correct? And what kind of tilapia are they specifically?
I really don't know. You got to ask Glenn because he stocked me, and so whatever he gave me, I have.
They're looking pretty good though. They're doing well.
They're about 3 years old.
Yep, and they're growing well. So you've got about 50 or 60 in here perhaps?
I've got many more than that, it turns out. Yeah, because when I took some out the other day, I took out about 50, and it looks like we didn't even touch them. So I got lots.
Right, so
that's why I was getting my problem. Yeah.
Okay, so but they're doing well. The water's nice and clean. It looks great. So look, I just want to point to this feature which I find fascinating, and that is that you've got an airlift pump here. And this airlift pump is, tell me if I've got this correct, it's actually bringing the water up and sending it right up to the top end of your property.
That's right.
And then everything runs back by gravity.
That's right. That's right.
So simple, really, isn't it, when you think about it?
The main reason I did this is when I first got started, I had heard about Glenn, and other people have told me that the maintenance on the aquaponics system is very high, especially if you're using submersibles, because of the debris fouling the impellers. And I didn't want to get into that. So when he explained to me the theory behind the airlift, I said, that's the way we want to go. It's just that because I've got to go so high, it's got to go way up there. So it's worked out. But initially, that tank there was the only tank I had, and was both the sump as well as the growing tank for the fish. But this one over here now acts as a sump primarily because the fish, as they were growing, they were getting alarmed when the water went down, because I have to evacuate so much volume to the other side in order to make the cycle work.
So they're getting scared because their tank's getting low, and so they're playing up on you and misbehaving.
So my plumbing right in here got really complicated, but it works.
So that's good. So now we have a sump, and the airlift lifts it up. And do you know how many watts you're burning in the air pump?
I think we're using an 80 watt.
An 80 watt pump. Yeah. And you're lifting it up a good 2 meters by the look of this.
Yeah.
Which is what, 8 feet, not 6'7" or something like that.
Yeah. But I actually had to put in a wet well into the ground because Glenn was explaining to me.
The deeper it goes.
That's right.
So how far down did you go?
It's going down about 2.5, 3 feet from there.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So that gives you the power you need.
That's right.
And it's taking the water out of the sump by the look of it. Yeah. No, it's putting it back in there. No, it's taking it out. Taking it out and sending it on its way.
That's right.
Up here. So can we go up and have a look?
Sure. So actually, the pipe, this all used to be pipe, but now I was able to inherit this unit here. So now with that trough is actually another growing bed.
So this trough is part of it too. That water comes along there, goes through there.
Yeah.
We've got some very nice basil there. Some, what kind of basil is that one?
Somebody thought it was Greek.
Greek basil.
Yeah.
We've got standard old basil, or basil, as Americans like to call it. And we've got some nice Thai basil up here we saw earlier.
We've got watercress on the very end.
Watercress on the end. And here we've got some, what's this?
Chinese called choy. Swamp cabbage. Yeah, apparently you can't take it to the mainland USA because it's considered invasive. It just takes over. So, but we eat it, so it doesn't really take over.
We're growing it at home. It's nice.
Yeah,
and it's easy to grow too.
It's easy and very flexible to use.
Yeah, you can have it in stir fries or in salads or anything. It's really good. Yes. And here I see a good old faithful sweet potato, which is going well. And you said earlier that's the purple one, is it? Or
yes, it is. And that's in there temporarily because I had to harvest some of my potatoes, and I wanted to be able to replant again. So I'm going to try to put these actually in buckets and stuff like that. People tell me it works, so I'm going to try that.
But look, I've got a comment. The leaf tells us that the plants are very healthy and they're doing really well. We look at the young leaves here and they're in beautiful condition. They really are. And it's a good advertisement for using media beds. So that's really good. So you've got a new addition up here. Could you tell me about this? This is an interesting one.
I wasn't getting good nutrition, and Glenn had told me from the very beginning that I probably should augment the fish manure with worm compost. And I didn't. What I did used to do, and it probably wasn't sufficient, because I've got basically a wet well and like an injection well, so that I don't have water on the surface fouling the gravel. I used to put a bag of the worm compost in here, just let it run
Soak
through,
away.
which I got some of, but you can only put like a handful.
Yeah.
So when I was thinking of trying to get more production, mine is not as sophisticated as Glenn's, where he's got the water going and actually flushing through. But that's basically a chamber for getting the worm compost just essentially to dissolve.
Kind of dissolve and digest a bit.
So the water from the pump comes from here, dumps into there, and then that's the water that overflows and goes into the...
So then the whole system is being charged with that material.
That's right.
Excellent.
That's right.
And that probably explains, like for example, this basil here is in excellent condition. The leaf of it shows that it's very, very healthy. It really is excellent. There's no nutrient deficiency at all exhibited in those. And basil actually is a very good plant to tell you if there's nutrient deficient, because you'll get leaf curl and you'll get all sorts of things happen.
Is that right?
So,
See, I didn't know those things.
Yeah, you'll get leaf curl.
I've got it in there because according to that thing that they had, that Glenn and Natalie had on their wall about certain plants will deter pests, and basil is one that will deter a lot of pests. So I want to make sure that I've got a lot of basil just sitting around.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
But part of what I'm trying to do is get relatively high production, because the idea is if we can be self-sustaining on vegetables. So I'm trying to grow stuff where the growing habit doesn't take up real estate.
Yep, so this is what you've done here.
Yeah.
And what do you call these again?
Those are bitter melon.
Bitter melons.
Yeah.
And you told me earlier that you can use them cooked or raw in all sorts of ways.
Well, a lot of people say eat bitter melon because the Okinawans live a long time and they eat a lot of bitter melon. You got to live like the Okinawans. You got a lot of things pass, like Hawaiians. A lot of things pass.
They're renowned for it, aren't they, the Okinawans?
Yes.
It's one of, I think, 5 zones in the world that has very long living people.
Yeah.
So maybe this is the secret. Maybe that's what I should be doing.
think it's their lifestyle.
Their lifestyle, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, peace of mind.
Yeah.
But look, are they about full grown?
That's about when we're going to pick it.
That's about when you're going to pick it.
I used to pick them a lot earlier because they didn't get as big. They used to turn yellow. But now that I've put in the fish manure in there, I'm getting better nutrition. Better nutrition.
Well, I can tell you, you've got nutrition because those basil plants are looking really good, and the sweet potato as well. You've got chives in there, and they're all looking healthy. They're really well coloured. Also, your mint over there is looking good. So, and there you've got some...
My tomatoes don't look real healthy, but I built that rack over there only because it's so hard to find a tomato. So that's a piece of wire mesh that's just leaning there. So the tomato can lean on the wire mesh, but it's big enough I can stick my hand through and pick the tomatoes.
Well, I've got to tell you, tomatoes are the hardest thing to grow in aquaponics.
Is that right?
They are the hardest thing, yeah. They've got the most nutrition requirement.
Ah.
But anyway, I think we've pretty much covered it, haven't we? And this is a really great example of a home system, and it takes up all this space down the side here in a narrow suburban block, and it just goes to show you what you can do in a suburban block if you really put your mind to it. And this is obviously a very productive system, lots of fish and some really good healthy vegetable growing. And I just love the way the system is designed, particularly the use of an airlift pump. So it's in a suburban area, it's quiet, there's not much noise, and only 80 watts of power being used. 80 watts of power to be able to pump all the water around for this system. And it's really quite expansive when you look at how much area it covers, and the fact that we're just using 80 watts is a really wonderful thing. Thanks for letting me come to your place.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.